shortcut day. We were going to do it yesterday. Obviously wasn't here. That's why we are doing it today. For the shortcut day. It is not just for people that don't know how to do a question. There are two reasons you want to know these shortcuts. One, if you are completely stumped on a question, it happens to everybody. Sometimes a shortcut applies, which is why we're going to practice them for a bunch of different types of questions. Even though it seems repetitive, and for a lot of them, it's the same shortcut over and over again, it can help. Even if you are like the smartiest smarty pants, sometimes I do the shortcut instead of doing it the right way because it's easier. Okay? Not to say I'm the smartiest pants, but I'd say I know some math. Also, I know some math. For the people that are a little bit clueless at this point, this is your day to shine. You will be using this probably at least 10 times on the multiple choice on the Regents exam if you're stumped. For those of us that are feeling confident and do the question the right way, you can use the shortcuts as a check when you're done doing the question just to make sure that it's right. It's like doing it two different ways. They are so beneficial. No brain, no thinky. Just type on your calculator, which is why I want you guys to practice all of these with me. Like I said, no exam is due tomorrow. It is just the homework that is in your packet. That's what's due for class tomorrow. So you'll probably have some time to work on it in class, and then you'll just finish it for homework. Any questions on that? One quick thing I want to remind you of, since it's already Wednesday, on Friday this week, 2 days from now, you have your 100-point review test. Bless you. I know that's scary. Listen, I'm like instantly silently got. Big review test, kind of like a practice Regents exam. Obviously, it's shorter because you don't have 3 full hours to take it. You just have the 40-minute class period. That being said, it's the end of the year. It's hot. Some of us, actually a lot of us, have a U.S. history exam that day too, and we're stressed. I will allow you to use your stuff and things when taking that test.
Which test?
The review test on Friday. So on the review test on Friday, you can use your stuff and things. Bring any copy of the stuff and things with you. Make sure it is completely correct. So like if you looked at my key and you like used your 5th practice copy, maybe you forgot a plus or minus, that won't help you. So sometime before Friday, just make sure you've got all the goodies on your stuff and things, and make sure you have it and you bring it with you on Friday because you can use it for the test. Does that sound good? Do we breathe a little easier, knowing we can use stuff and things? Okay. You can also use shortcuts. So here we go. All of these words at the very top are for you to read when I'm not there with you. I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to say the words. But if you're doing your homework and you're like, oh, crap, I kind of forgot that shortcut she told me. First of all, I'll have a recording posted so you can listen to me again, or you can just go back and read these. But big idea for the first page of the shortcut assignment is this. If you see the words in the problem, either equivalent to, equal to, same as, same solutions as, all of that means you can use the shortcut. So in the shortcut, there are 2 things that you can do to find out if 2 things are equivalent. In the problem, it will give you an equation or an expression. You can plug that into the y equals in your calculator into y1. Then you take choice 1 and plug it into your y2. If they have identical tables when you press second graph, they're equivalent functions. Done. If you plug in choice 1 and they're not equivalent, that's not your answer. Unless it was saying which one's not equivalent. Obviously, that would be your answer. Yeah, but the whole idea of equivalent is if you graph each of them and they both have the same table, they're equivalent. Perfect. That's method 1 for any of these keywords. And guys, this is not the full list of the keywords. It could say anything along those lines. Okay? It could say like same equation or something like that. Anything with same or equal. You want to do either what I just said to you, which we're going to practice, or something else that you can do. It's not my favorite way, but we are going to have to do it for one example today. Is if you can't graph something, like for example, imaginary numbers. You can't graph those, they don't exist. What you can do instead is plug numbers in. So you'll have an original in the given problem. Let's say I plug in 2 for x. In choice 1, I'll plug in 2 for x. If I get the same answer, they're equivalent. If I don't, it's not my answer. Plug in choice 2. Try it, 3, 4, and so on. So we need to be like A+ ready to go. There will be no calculated repeating explanations. If I push a button, you push a button. Are we ready to go? Okay. I know it seems kind of funny. I also, real quick, this is called shortcut day. There's nothing short about it. You just don't have to think as much, and it will help you if you're ever stumped. So it's not really a shortcut, but if you're stumped and you have no other way to do it, it will help you out. All right, question number 1, I didn't notice this before I copied it, but choice 1 and 2 are real close together. If you just want to divide those with a line, make it look a little bit better. Sorry, I usually catch that stuff. No, you read it down. Right, number 1 says, which of the following equations has the same solution? Same solution means they're going to have the same graph. So what I'm going to do is grab my calculator, plug the given equation into my y1. So I grab my calculator. Whoop. I go to my y equals, clear out anything that's in there, and plug in that given one into your y1. So x squared minus 5x is 2. I'm seeing which one it's equivalent to, so I have to check all of them. Here's the problem with this one. The original was equal to 0. That means all of these need to be equal to 0 for me to plug them in. Is this one equal to 0? No. How do I move a negative 33 over 4 over? Add it. I'm going to plus 33 over 4 plus 33 over 4. And again, you don't really need to show work for multiple choice. So as long as you understand that you don't need to rewrite it out, I just need to now plug that in. So I go to the y2 in my calculator, and I plug in that first choice, parentheses and all. So x minus plus, just like that. You can press graph and look at the graphs, but sometimes you guys know your window goes by 10 by 10. If both of these graphs exist at like the hundreds and thousands, you're not going to see it. So what works every time is second graph, and you can compare your tables. So when I hit second graph, I see both of the tables. These are my x values, and these are the two equations y values. Are they equivalent? No, so that's not my answer. Annoying to plug in? Absolutely. But if you are stumped, guys, this was a completing the square question. Anyone remember completing the square? No. So what would you use? This, absolutely. So now I go to my calculator again. I go to my y2. Don't clear out y1 because that's still your original. You only clear out your y2. And when I go to plug in choice 2, I have x minus 5 squared. But it's not equal to 0 either. So what do I have to do to get that negative 27 over? Add the 27. So I'll plug in a plus 27. So this is what I should have now. Then I hit second graph. And are those equivalent? Nope. So I'm hoping we're all kind of feeling the same way. Annoying? Yes. Easy? Yes. Okay. I got to go to choice 3. So choice 3, same situation happens. It's not equal to 0, but it's a positive 17 over 4. So to move it over, I'm going to subtract 17 over 4. So I'm going to plug that in now. Again, leave your y1. Just plug it in for your y2. Okay. Second graph, and voila. We're so happy. So that means even if you did try to do this by completing the square, there was a fraction involved. Anyone want to do it with a fraction? It's already awful with regular numbers. No. So this is my answer, choice 3, and I'm done. If it was your actual exam, please plug in choice 4 as well. I'm not going to do that with you now just to save some time, but make sure all 3 of the other choices don't work. And then the one that did work is your answer. All right. Number 2 says the expression x plus a times x plus b cannot be written as. So this one's just saying cannot be equivalent to. So it has those wordings. So I'm going to find the one that's not equal. That means 3 of them are. However, when you go to plug this into your y equals, you can't plug it in with an a and a b. But a and b are generic numbers. It does not matter what a and b are. You pick any numbers you want. Back up here. I didn't stress this in the beginning, but I'm going to tell you now. When you do pick numbers, do not pick 1 or 0. Sometimes 0 works in everything because 0 times anything is 0, and it won't necessarily show that's true. I usually use a crazy number like 1.7. No reason at all, just a crazy number. You could just use 2 or 3. Just because this one is 2, I'm going to use 2 and 3. I'm going to say that A is 2 and B is 3. If I set those letters to be those numbers, now I have new expressions. This is not x plus 8 anymore, it's x plus 2, and this is x plus 3. Obviously, don't pick negatives, don't pick crazy numbers. As long as you avoid 0 and 1, you should be fine. But if I plug in a 2 here, this is 2 times x plus 3 plus x times x plus 3. Everywhere I see an A, I'm just putting a 2. Everywhere I see a B, I'm just putting a 3.
Oh, did you just pick those numbers randomly, right?
Yep, I picked 2 and 3 randomly. You could have picked 7 and 11, 14 and 2. Pick your birthday, whatever you want. I'm just going to finish writing these all out before I get to plugging it all in, just so I have them and they're ready to go and I can just think less when I'm plugging. For this one, A, B next to each other means A times B, so I'm just going to write 6x. And then same thing here, A times B is just 6. Just doing a little bit of mental math in this. Yep. Mental math in my head. There we go. Plus A plus B is 5. So this is 5x plus 2 times 3 is 6. This one's x times x plus 2 plus 3 times x plus 2. See how all of a sudden, too, I just went from something that's really complicated to not so bad just by putting some numbers in it? I think that looks a little bit easier. All right, so give this one a try. Plug your original into your y1. Plug choice 1 into your y2. And then remember, this one wants to know which one is not equivalent. So if you plugged in choice 1 and it was equal, good for you. That's not the answer. Choice 1 should have been equal in your table, but that means it's not the answer. When you plug in choice 2, that is the one that is not equivalent. And again, that's using the shortcut. That's like if you cannot function, you can't figure out this question for the life of you, go ahead and use the shortcut. The right mathematical way to figure this out is that these are factors. If I factor this, what multiplies to 6 and adds to 6? Nothing. Certainly not 2 and 3, because 2 and 3 add to what? 5, which is why this one is equivalent, this one is not. Again, no brain, no thinky, sometimes just plugging it in, or even if you do it the right way and then plug it in just to make sure. Shortcuts are so nice. Now, sometimes shortcuts are out to get you, like number 3. Number 3 says the completely factored form of blah is. This one doesn't say equivalent to, it doesn't say same, but it's saying the factored form. Factored forms should be equivalent functions. They're just written differently. So see how you can have all these different kinds of wording, so the shortcut just continually works. Also, we've done this question before. Remember looking at this and we were like, how on earth do you factor that? You can't. So when you're taking your exam and you look at that and you're like, shortcut. Okay. It's awful, but we have to plug this into our y1 instead of n. What are we going to use? X. Got it. So I go to my calculator. I'm going to do this one with you. I'm going to torture myself just like you're being tortured today. X. Ooh. I don't think it needs to be said, but I'm just going to say it just in case. Obviously, if you plug in the first one wrong, it's not gonna work. So be as careful as possible. We all make mistakes. I know instead of 108, we might hit 109 and then the whole thing's wrong. Just be careful. If you do the shortcut and it doesn't end up working out, chances are you did just type something in incorrectly. So go back and just try it again. You guys know you have 3 hours to take the Regents exam. You can't leave earlier than 2. So if you finish the exam in like an hour and 45 minutes, you have 15 minutes to just sit there, or an hour and 15 minutes if you really want to take all of your time and check everything. You have plenty of time to be working through this. 3 hours seems like a long time, but when you're doing math the whole time, it'll fly by because time flies when we're having fun.
Yep.
Exactly. All right, so I go to my y2 and I plug this in. X squared minus 9. X plus 6. X minus 2. This one wants the completely factored form, so that means it wants an equivalent form. When I press second graph, what do I notice? Are they equivalent? Yes, but that's not my answer. Here's why. And here's how sometimes the shortcut can come out to get you, which is why I always want you to plug in all 4 choices. This one says the completely factored form. Is choice 1 factored completely?
No.
No. This has dots, which means this is not the right answer, but I can kind of figure out which one is the right answer now because this part was correct. This just wasn't factored completely. If I dots this, what should I end up getting out of n squared minus 9? Exactly. And this right here would match up. Of course, you should plug choice 2 into your calculator to make sure it matches. You can trust me that it does. You should also plug in 3 and 4 and see that they don't. If you were doing the shortcut on this exam, the Regents knew you were going to use the shortcut on this question because who knows how to factor this? I'm going to be completely honest with you. I do not. Okay? It's too many terms. It's too much. It's a disaster. You have to reorder them and then do grouping with 3 and 2. It's not a good time. So they were expecting you to use the shortcut, and then those kind souls put an equivalent expression as choice 1. So you would plug it in, pick it, and move on. Ew. Don't do it. Always check all 4 of them because what would have happened then is you would have checked 1. You would have been like, that works, but I'll check the rest. You plug in choice 2 and it also works, and you're like, uh-oh. And then you read more carefully and you end up picking the right one. Okay. Shortcut works. Carefully always check all 4 answers. Do you have a question? Yeah.
Why doesn't it show error?
Because you plugged in something wrong. There should not be an error. So go through, see if you plugged in all of those. It's a lot to plug in, but it should not have given you an error.
I've already been doing these in all the tests that we've taken.
Great. Good. All right. So guys, for number 4, I don't want to waste your time and have you plug in. I was going to, but I want to get through all the examples. If I try to graph this, it has an I in it. What do we know I is? Imaginary. Will I see anything on the graph? No. If you plug this into your Y1 and this into your Y2, it's just going to give you errors on the entire table because it does not exist. So this is one of those examples where I can't use the graphing shortcut, which truthfully I think is easier, but you have to use the other one. It doesn't mean you're totally out. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that X is, so give me a number.
4.14.
That was a lot. I heard 7. Okay. I didn't hear a single 7. Okay. If X is 7, that means I'm going to plug 7 into this. Now there's a shortcut for how to do that. So if you've been, kind of steering away from making sure like, oh, this is easy, come back. This is the new one. Get out of your Y equals. Like I said, you can't graph this because it's imaginary. So this is when you have to use that other shortcut by just plugging in a number. If I plug 7 into the original, and then I plug 7 into choice 1, and they're equivalent, great. If they're not, I move on. So here I go, plugging in my original first with 7 plugged in. There's 2 ways that you can do it. One of them is by actually typing in the 7. Sometimes we make mistakes like that. So hear me out. Watch me now. Everybody real quick. What you can do instead of plugging in a 7 is allowing your calculator to do it for you. It is such a good shortcut. Press 7. Press stow right above the on button. Press X, enter. What just happened is now every time on this calculator screen, not your graph, on this screen, when you type X, it's going to plug in 7 for you. No parentheses, no worrying about anything. It's just going to do it for you. So what we're going to do now is plug in the original, which is 6 minus parentheses. I'm going to type 3x, and it's going to plug it in for me. So 3x minus 2. How do I get an I? Good. Second decimal. Close the parentheses and then squared. So you can, of course, do parentheses and plug in a 7 here. This is just a time saver. I'm going to press enter, and that's what I get. So I'm going to write that down for my original. 431, negative 431 plus 84. Now, if I plug in choice 1, that's what I should get. Let's give it a try. Grab my calculator. Choice 1. Now, 7 is still stored for x. You don't have to redo that. You just have to type it in exactly how you see it. So choice 1 is negative 9x squared plus 12xi. To get the I is second decimal point, and then plus 10. Yeah.
I'm sorry, could you say how to get to the I again?
Second decimal point.
Okay, thanks.
Mm-hmm. When I typed in choice 1, what did I notice? Same or no? Same. That means that's my answer. What should I do if this was my final exam? Still plug in all 3 of the other choices. I promise you, you do not get this for the other 3. I already tried it just to make sure. For sake of time, don't do it. If it was your exam, always plug in all 4 of them. You've got nowhere else to be. You're stuck in that hot gym for 2 hours. Make the best of it. How are we feeling about shortcuts? So on your test on Friday, if you see a shortcut opportunity, use it, especially if it's easier. I think these are easier for some of them. The right way to do number 4 would have been to square it first by writing it twice, double distribute, then distribute the negative through, then combine like terms. It's a lot. You do want to know how to do it because this could very well be a part 2 where you have to show work. So it's good to practice it both ways, but shortcut on the test, if you see the opportunity, take it.
How many tests are usually on the exam?
How many
Right.
shortcuts?
Yeah. No.
Anywhere? Oh, questions? There's 37. Usually there's the opportunity for a shortcut for at least like 6 to 8 of the multiple choice questions, which is a really big deal when there's 24 of them. So again, take advantage of them whenever you can. All right, let's do 5. 5 says a study of black bears in the Adirondacks reveals that their population can be represented by the function blah, where t is the number of years since the study began. Which function is correctly written to reveal the monthly growth rate of the black bear population? We are not good at these questions. It's okay to not be good at them. We just need to know our strengths and our weaknesses. Truthfully, these are not my favorite questions either. So the right way to do this. This is the number of years, so it's the annual rate, and it wants the monthly rate. If I take a big yearly rate and cut it into 12 months, is my rate going to get bigger or smaller? Smaller. So what you have to do the right way is take 1.025 and raise it to the 1 over 12. When you do that, you get 1.00206. Which still leaves you with a 50-50 shot. And it's kind of hard. Since you raise it to the 1 over 12, you need to bring it back to the original by raising it to the 12th. The answer is choice 1. That's the right way. The shortcut way, plug them in your calculator. I'm going to plug this into my Y1. Plug this into my Y2. You'll notice that the tables match, but you do need to go through and check all of your answers. So to save you guys some time, hear me out. I'm going to verbally walk you through plugging this into your calculator. When you plug in Y1 and Y2, this one ends up working. Like we said, you don't pick it right away. You go through and check the rest. This one's not equal. This one's not equal, but this one ends up getting you equivalent tables. It's on the exam. You plug in all 4 of them. Like Ms. Holbrook stressed to you, You plug in both and you're like, ah, she steered me wrong. There's 2 right answers. There are 2 equivalent functions for this one, but only one of them is correct, and it has to be the one that gets smaller in rate. This is an annual rate. It's not going to become bigger because it's supposed to be cut into months. So even if you didn't know to do that trick, you know the monthly rate needs to get smaller, which is why this number is smaller. But at the very least, you guys, the shortcut got you down to a 50-50 shot with like the no thinking at all. If you gave this no thought and plugged them all in, you got yourself down to 2 choices, and then you have to like pick a little bit of information out of your brain. Sometimes for some of the shortcuts, just like the factoring completely one, and get yourself to the rest of the answer. That is shortcut number 1. You can use it anytime it says any of those words. Same equation, same solution, factored form, equivalent to, any of those words. Shortcut. Okay. The second shortcut we are going to go over is if it says to simply solve an equation. You can, of course, go through and make all the steps to solve an equation, or work smarter, not harder. The answers are giving you possible choices, right? These are all the answers that it could be. So what you can do is plug them in and just see which ones work. So that's what that wording is saying up there. For the very first example, obviously, I can't check number 1 first, so I'm going to skip that for now. I'm going to look at choice 2. The first solution I want to check is -3. So I'm going to plug -3 into this. When I plug -3 into this side, if it works, what will it be equal to? 7. Exactly. Now, use the shortcut again with me. I want you guys to get into the habit of doing this. You have no idea how much it will help for this example. So instead of plugging in every single x, I'm going to say -3 stow x. Enter.
Wait, is it still?
Stow is right above the on button.
Okay.
So -3 stow x. Enter. That means every time I type in x now, it's going to plug in the -3 for me. Now, to my people using the 84. Alpha, y equals, enter. 84 people. Alpha, y equals, enter. 83 people. When you plug this in, you have to tell your calculator what's on top and what's on the bottom. So you have to put parentheses around the whole top and parentheses around the whole bottom. Not a big deal, but anytime there's more than one thing in the top or more than one thing on the bottom, you have to put the whole top in parentheses and or the whole bottom in parentheses. 84 people, alpha, y equals, enter. Yes.
For the 84, you can just do alpha and then the button to the right of it.
Not all of them work. Yours is updated. Mine doesn't work. I tried it as soon as you
What
told me.
do you do? Alpha and then the button next to the X one.
Yeah, some of the 84s are updated and you can press alpha x and it gives you the fraction. So give that a try. If it works for you, awesome. It doesn't work for every 84. So if you're not working out, so sorry. Alpha x or alpha y equals, enter.
Was it supposed to give you the fraction if you did that or not?
Yes, it's supposed to give you like 2 boxes.
Okay, I did that.
Perfect. Yeah. I think you do get an error for the first one. Yeah, it's okay. You're supposed to. Is error equal to 7? No. So if you didn't finish plugging it in, please do. You just have to plug in the original. So I would plug it in. I'll do it for my 83 folk. The 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. Parentheses divided by the bottom. X squared plus 2x minus 3. I know you panic when you guys get an error. That just means that it even tells you the error on some calculators that say it's dividing by 0. So that means -3 does not work because it is not equal to 7. So on my exam, I know -3 does not work. So I cross off choice 2. What else can I do? Cross off 3. It's saying that -3 is the only answer, but I already know that -3 didn't work. So what's the next solution I'm going to check? Yeah, choice 4, which is 6/5. So I do store. Watch me as I do this. 6 divided by 5. Stow x, enter. Now every time I plug in an x, it's not going to be a 7. It's going to plug in 6/5 for me. Watch this part. Don't try it yet. Just watch. All looky, no try. 84 people. You don't have to type this all in again. Scroll up, press enter. press enter. You don't have to type it all in again. Scroll up to highlight over it, press enter, and then press enter. It'll plug in the 6/5 for you. 84 people, it doesn't allow your calculator to scroll up, but you can still copy and paste by pressing second enter, second enter. So give that a try. Second enter, second enter. Of course, you could just type the whole thing in again, but I'm trying to give you the shortcuts here. So 83 people, press second enter, and then it'll plug in the 6/5 for you. Notice I got 7. What does that mean?
It's equal.
It's equal, which means this is my answer. If it wasn't equal, it would have been the empty set because there were no solutions that worked. But you do not need to keep typing the equation in, especially for one like this that's kind of a beast. Plug it in once perfectly and then copy and paste it for the rest of your choices. All right, last one I want to do with you is number 8. Number 8 is the same type of thing. It gives you possible solutions. I'm going to make this a little bit easier, though, just like we would do with any example, and get it equal to 0. How would I move the minus 6x over? Plus 6x, and then I'm going to subtract the 20. So my new equation is negative 1/2 x squared plus 6x minus 20. The reason you want to do that is because finding out if something's equal to 0 is way easier than plugging into both sides. Okay, so it says the solutions are, and it gives you 4 possible solutions. So what I'm going to do is store one of my solutions for x. I'm going to try choice 1 first. So it's got the plus or minus. Just plug in one of them for now. I'm going to do negative 6 plus 2i. Store it for x, so I don't have to type it in every time. All I have to do is type in x. So I stored that first one for x. Now I need to plug in the original equation. So negative 1/2 x squared plus 6x minus 20. So when my calculator plugged in choice 1, that's what I got. What was I trying to get? 0. And it's not equal to 0, so that's not my answer. Choice 1 is out. So now I need to store my second answer for x. Negative 6 plus 2 radical 19. So x, enter. Now, don't type in the whole equation again. Second enter, or scroll up to copy and paste. Either way, when it plugs in that choice, I get this. That's not 0. That's not the right answer. It ends up being choice 3. I'll show you real quick so you guys don't have to push as many buttons. I know today's a boring day and it's hot. 6 plus 2i stow x. And then when I copy and paste it into the original equation, I get 0. You want to plug it in with the minus as well. And of course, you'd still want to try choice 4, but you get 0 either way. You can trust me. This is what you end up getting. So on your homework, there's a couple questions that ask you to do it the right way. For example, if it was a part 2, you still need to know the math and then the shortcut ways. You can kind of see the benefit of the shortcut. And then right here at the bottom of the notes are the answers to the homework.
If you get the right answer and you show the wrong work, you still get it? No.
I don't know what that means.
If you get the right answer but you show the wrong work.
You can't get the right answer without showing the right
Or
word.
if it's not you.
But let's say you just